Hey guys, SpicySoap back again with our final episode of the series on Space Engineers. And in today's episode slash stream, we are going to be trying to get this rocket to go up into the space and then get it to land on the moon. So, we're just going to see if we can get any more viewers and then let's get ready for a liftoff. I really need to turn down the FPS on this stream though, because it's very laggy. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. So after closer inspection of my settings, I can't change it without ending the stream. So we will deal with it for now, and we'll just go along with it. So the idea is, we're going to try and get this thing up to the moon, try and land on the moon, and then that's going to be the stream for today, and we'll probably see you in the next series. But the idea is, we're going to try and fly up to the moon, land there, and then all should be good, hopefully. So let's just get in the rocket and then get ready to fly. Whoa. I've gotta say, I've never tried streaming this before and it is very laggy. Well, it's time for the big moment. Let's see if we can get up into space. So, let's set this piston to retract. Disconnect from the station. We are now separate of the station. We're gonna wait for that to retract. And then we're gonna get the thrusters turned on. But first, I need to set these hydrogen tanks so that then they're not gonna just take away all the hydrogen. Okay, we're all good there. And it seems that we are ready for takeoff. Well, it's looking like we've just achieved a pretty safe takeoff. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can make it into space. I also don't entirely know where the moon is, so we'll figure that one out as we go. Luckily we have a bit of a better view up here, so should be a bit easier to find. So we've now escaped the oxygen of the planet, which means that we're now pretty much just up in space but within the gravity of Earth. So, what we're going to try and do is just keep going. I believe we have just found the moon. So if we look just over where the nose of my rocket is, we should see the moon over there. So, what the idea is, we're going to try and fly over that way. So, let's reorient ourselves. So that then we're hopefully pointed towards it. Hopefully. Provided I can just regain my positioning. And we're going to go this way. I've got to say, this thing spins very quickly. Makes me a bit dizzy. Anyway, since this flight's going to be a long one, we should probably find some sort of thing to get chat involved with. So, what would chat like to talk to me about today? Looks like we're coming up on our second checkpoint, so we might actually escape Earth orbit pretty soon. With the way that we're headed. So, let's try and aim for that, and then we can point ourselves to the moon and be a bit more fuel efficient. Because we have actually burned quite a high amount of fuel already, so we need to try and conserve a little bit. In case we do need to go back to Earth at any point. So, we're going to try and play it as efficiently as possible, and get out of Earth orbit so we're not having to fight with gravity. we're now getting to the brink of the point where we're no longer in Earth's gravity, which will make our flight a lot more efficient. And also means that we don't have to keep putting thrust in every so often, because space obviously has no gravity. Or very little gravity. We can just push ourselves, and we'll keep floating until anything else acts upon us, because physics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just fly near to the moon, and then we'll point ourselves so that then we can put the back thruster downwards onto the moon, meaning that we can land quite easily. So this is an asteroid. This obviously isn't the moon. The moon is just underneath where our rear thruster is in your point of view. So if we just skip past this thing here, because we don't need this, we should actually be leaving Earth's atmosphere soon. We're about 56 kilometers from where our old base was, so we've already traveled a very large distance, but we've still got to go further. So let's just push ourselves a bit further out of that atmosphere. I think it cuts off at about 40 kilometers. And so far we're at about 40-ish kilometers in height now. So we should be leaving any time now. So as soon as this line on my HUD disappears, we know that we're straight out of the atmosphere and we can just keep flying. So let's just give it one final push, and we're out of the atmosphere. Checkpoint 2 complete. So let's put that marker up. For some reason it's not loading. Let me just quickly hop over and do that. Apparently my checkpoints no longer work on my stream, so just pretend that there's a tick on the Earth escape orbit thing, and let's continue. Now we've got to point ourselves towards the moon in a gentle way, and also try and stay away from Earth, because if we end up back in the atmosphere, that's extra fuel in which we don't want to be spending. Okay, so we're now heading back towards the moon, and we've just noticed a pirate raider on our radar, which is not an ideal situation, because if that thing comes anywhere near us, they're going to try and take our ship down. So we need to stay away from that, because otherwise we might lose all of our progress, and that's less than ideal. So we need to just keep flying past, try not to get in its way, and then ultimately try and land on the moon. So let's just keep on going, float by, and if they come near us then we can always like fly away really fast, but preferably we won't have to. So let's just keep going. That pirate raider does seem to be approaching us, which is a little bit worrying, but I don't think those things can handle being on board them, like in the moon's gravity. So as long as we can get to the moon, we should be safe from this thing. So we just need to keep going, really. So notice how the speed of the change in distance is like slowing down a lot. That means that they're starting to decelerate, or we're starting to gain speed ahead of them. Both of which are quite good, because it means that we're going to escape them quite easily. And my game is doing some weird things. It's got some pretty bad bitrate at the moment. Let's just try and ignore that and keep flying. I'm sorry about the low quality of stream, but I use online game streaming because my laptop wouldn't run it. So at least you've got frame rate. So yeah, just need to keep flying. There we go, we're escaping this pirate raider now, so that's good. It means that we're no longer being chased. I know that the only distance I have to panic about them from is about 800 meters, but I'd rather keep my distance and be safe than sorry. And we're now hitting the 50 km. We're now reaching 70 kilometers from where our base was, which is quite a monument, considering that just earlier today we were sat on the station, just looking up to see if we could find the moon, and now we're headed straight for it. It's quite fast progress. That's the kind of progress that I like. I gotta say, you guys in chat are being pretty quiet today. It's a bit dead in chat, really. There's not really much going on. Either way, we are starting to approach the moon. I don't know how far we are, but we can't be massively distant. Plus, I have plenty of time to be doing this, so there's no worries on time restraint. We'll just fly along at our own leisurely pace, get to the moon, hopefully land in one piece, and then all will be good, hopefully. Hopefully we don't land right next to a space pirate base. That wouldn't be great. But wherever we land, we're gonna have to land. My suit oxygen's running quite low, and because I don't have any medbay on board, we're gonna have to pull a bit of a risky move. So we're gonna have to get out of the rocket and actually get some oxygen out of the cargo tank from outside. So let's hop out of the airlock and be in space for the first time outside on this world. And that is space, and we are flying through it. So what we need to do is, whilst we're out here, just very quickly go and interact with the cargo and grab myself a single oxygen bottle, because otherwise we're not going to make it to the moon. So let's get an oxygen bottle. And now we should be able to breathe. So let's try and hop back in the rocket. So we're now in the rocket. Let's go up and in. Okay, so we made it through. We've managed to get ourselves another bottle of oxygen, which means we can still breathe. And now we continue our flight to the moon. coming up on being live for half an hour, so milestones have been reached. And I'm just gonna hop over into my OBS and just fix the thing, because otherwise we don't actually have the thing up to date. So let's just fix that. There we go. So we've now put the thing up to date. We're now on the correct milestone on the stream. Now we just need to continue flying and hopefully make it to the moon. And it looks like my internet's not having a great day in terms of game streaming. It's going a bit jumbled. It's not really holding up too great. It looks like we're getting a lot closer to the moon now, so that's cool. I'm not sure why my game's flashing on and off. I'm not sure why the bitrate drops all of a sudden. But we are approaching the moon, and that is one thing that matters. So you can actually see we're starting to leave Earth behind a little bit, and we're 110 kilometers from where our old base used to be. And the moon, we are unknown as to distance, because we don't have a radar on there or anything. So we cannot tell how far we are from the moon. But the fact that we have done pretty much half a lap of the planet, found the moon, and then got a lot closer to it than we were before, that's an achievement in itself. So we just need to keep going and hopefully make it there. I've got to say, I've never made a rocket that looks this nice. And I've made quite a few rockets in my time, but I've never known any rocket to look this good. Possibly because I used paint, because most of the time when I'm building rockets I tend to be prototyping them, so I don't really put paint on many of them. I just tend to make them work and fly them. But this one, it actually looks decent, and it performs quite a lot better than my other rockets as well. Possibly because I've gone for multiple thrusters instead of just one as well. But what matters is it's flying, and that's cool. I feel like this moon is definitely getting bigger in my perspective, which means that we are getting closer. It's just taking time. I feel like we should put some music in the background of the stream. So, I'm going to put the music working again on the stream, and then we should be able to listen along to some Space Engineers theme. There we go. So that should be the working music. And provided that my computer doesn't freeze, provided that my computer stays alive, we should be able to keep going on and listen to the music at the same time. And it looks like that's going to be possible. So right now behind us, by about 136 kilometers, our base sits back on Earth. It's actually just over the horizon if you look, because back at our base we couldn't see the moon. So that has to be back over the horizon. Plus I know for a fact we weren't in a desert. So, our base is actually around the planet a little bit. Just shows how far we've travelled. And the moon is definitely starting to get a lot bigger, a lot faster now. Meaning that we're definitely getting close. So, now we just continue the journey, keep flying, and then hopefully we make it there. So, I have a challenge for chat, and the challenge is, guess how long in minutes it's going to take for me to get from here to get to the moon. So that's going to be the contest for chat, and whoever gets closest gets a quick old shout out. So most of the time in the series, when I've been doing stuff like time lapses, this is the amounts of times that I tend to spend on these time lapses. They tend to take quite a while to put together, and you can kind of see how it works just from this. It's basically just really quick and easy tasks to go and do whilst almost AFK but still not AFK. Sort of just mindless tasks where you don't have to think about them. So that's the kinds of things I end up doing when I'm doing time lapses. I'm gonna guess that there's another 25 kilometers between me and the moon. So right now, I'm about 170 kilometers from base. So I'm gonna say at 195 kilometers we should be at the moon. That's my guess, but my guess is not always right, and it's quite often been proved wrong. But, hopefully, turns out to be correct. Actually, I can see a little bit of ice on the surface of the moon already, so you see this little blue patch just at the bottom half of the moon here. That's all ice, and ice is important for my survival, so I'm going to point myself that way on the moon. But the fact that we can see ice proves my 25 kilometer theory completely wrong already. Because if you can see ice, then you're clearly not 25 kilometers away, you're probably a lot closer. Because you can make out details on the moon, and that's not something you do at a distance. let's see. So our ice and stuff is actually doing quite well. We got hydrogen, we got oxygen, so we can still breathe, we can still fly. Just accidentally set off Siri, let's ignore that. But we've got a power kit as well in case we start running out of battery, but realistically we can just sit in the rocket and that'll charge up our batteries. We've got med kits in case we hurt ourselves, which hopefully we won't end up doing. And yeah, we're all set to go. I would say it's time to tick off our third objective, which would be get to the moon, because looking at how close we are to the moon, we are essentially there. And we're also 180 kilometers from our base back on Earth. So I've still got waypoints there in case we do end up having to go back, but it's quite a long haul journey. And we've been flying for about 40-ish minutes. Probably not exactly 40 minutes because we've got a bit of pre-stream stuff and a little bit of intro, but honestly I think we're getting quite close, so I'm gonna tick off the third thing. If I can get that to tick off, I'll have to tab out again. Okay, so we've ticked off our third objective. Now we're back in, and my computer's just lagging a quick bit, but that'll fix itself soon enough. I feel like my guess of 195 kilometers could still be on, because we're at 185 kilometers, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's a 10-kilometer flight. But at the same time, we're looking like we're getting very close now. Look at how big the moon's getting and how fast it's growing in our point of view. We're gonna have to start turning around soon so that we can get our thrusters pointed towards the moon and then get a better landing. But we are definitely getting closer, and I feel like my bet of 195 kilometers is a little bit short actually. I feel like we're gonna be further than 5 kilometers away from the moon right now. Only time will tell though. Let's spin the rocket around a little bit, point ourselves back to where we came from a little bit. We're not actually going back, we're just reorienting ourselves so we can achieve a better landing on the moon. So let's start slowing down a little bit, just come to a complete stop. And the idea is we're just going to go down, straight down from here. Like this. So we're now pointed with our feet towards the moon, and we're heading towards it at 100 meters per second. And I think it's safe to say that the moon is going to be 205 kilometers away from Earth. Let's try and land in a safe place, and then hopefully we live. And if we explode, you may or may not witness tears, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Well, we've achieved a landing, but we're not really properly staying stable. So I'm going to just try and turn off the thrusters and just see if we sit flat. And it looks like we do. So, with that one, we've landed on the moon successfully. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to say that today. I thought there was going to be some sort of tragic accident. But, we've made it. We are on the moon. So if I hop out of this ship, this is the moon. There's desolate stone in the sky that it's kind of useless, but at the same time, it feels good to be here. So, our moon is here. Our rocket is on it. I would call that a very, very good victory. Because just over there, just that way, 200 kilometers away, is our base. And this is our rocket, where we just came from. I've got to say, that's one of the best things I've ever done in Space Engineers. So let's tick that off on the checklist. If I can do that. So, we ticked it off on the checklist. My thing is weird, but here we go. When my computer recovers, we have made it to the moon. I would say, big victory. And with that, that's gonna have to be an episode / stream. So, I hope you enjoyed watching. If you're watching this back on a later date, please like and subscribe, because this was a very big project to make. It's taken me about 2 months. And yeah, this has been SpicySoap, and I'm gonna be out.